Abiquitous owners of Chipies Ecosystem. Nigel here, one of Chipies Ecosystem Abiquitous owners or stewards. You know, I have been thinking a lot lately about how things actually work in the world, like not the surface level vision, not what we were told in school or what we see on social media, but like in real life. How people actually live, how people actually survive, and how people actually struggle. And it's kind of uncomfortable when you really sit with it. Because from far away, everything looks like it's functioning, right? You see, companies are running, people are going to work, money is moving, economies are growing. But when you zoom in, like really zoom in, you start seeing something else. You start realizing that a lot of people are not actually part of what is being built. They are just existing inside it. And that thing kept bothering me, like it doesn't leave my mind once I see it, because you start asking yourself, why is this world structured like this? Why do we have billions of people but only a small percentage actually are earning or owning anything meaningful? So I'm not even talking about just money. No, it's deeper than that. I'm talking about ownership of action, ownership of systems, ownership of the future itself. Because right now, if you are honest, most people are just users. They don't build, they don't own, they don't decide, they just adapt. They wake up, they fit into systems, they try to survive within the structures that were already created without them. And I don't know, that just doesn't feel right to me. Like it doesn't really fit with me. It feels like we are built or we build something powerful as humanity, but somewhere along the way we accidentally disconnected most people from it. That's how I feel. And when you disconnect people from what they live in, something always breaks. Maybe not immediately, but slowly. You see it in how people feel, how people think, how people lose belief in systems, in governments, and opportunities, even in themselves sometimes. So I kept asking myself, okay, if this doesn't feel right, then what would feel right? So, like, what would a system look like when people are not just surviving but participating? And that is when things started getting interesting, because the answer wasn't fix one thing or improve one system. No, it was more like, what if the entire structure is wrong? What if instead of a world where a few people build and everyone else plugs in, we had a world where everyone could actually co-create? That's co-creatorship. That is how co-creatorship mind came to me. And yeah, I know. The moment you say that, someone somewhere is already like, yeah, that sounds nice, but it won't work, or people are selfish, or that is too idealistic. Eh, we have all heard that before, but if you slow down and really think about it, the problem was never people don't want to participate, but the problem is there was never a real world to do it at a scale. There was never an infrastructure that allows millions of people to go on to verify the system and to trust the system without depending on one central authority. So, of course, it didn't work that moment. It was never fully built to work those decades. And that is where this whole thing, Chipies ecosystem, comes in. Not as like some perfect solution or some finished idea, but more like an experiment, a real one. Like, what happens if we try to build a system where co-ownership is the default, not something rare, not something reserved for a few, but something normal, right? So, because I think, or if you think about it, just imagine this for a second. If people could actually own part of the things they hope create, if they could see their contribution and verify everything transparently, know who else is building with them across the world without needing to trust blindly, or if they can actually prove the innocence of someone without having to ask or consult other person or multi-person or company, what would they say to that? Would they say no to that? I don't think so. I really think I think that what is actually happening is that people have just adapted to a world where the option doesn't exist, so they don't even think about it anymore. But the moment you introduce that possibility, something changes. So, because ownership is not about assets, it's about identity, it's about belonging, it's about saying this is also mine and I am also part of this. And when people feel that they move differently, they don't just work, they care, they don't just participate, they protect, and they don't just show up, and they actually build. So that is just a human nature. So yeah, with Chipies ecosystem, we are basically saying, okay, let's test this, let's not overtalk it, and let's not overpromise it. Let's just build and see what next. So what happens is, if companies are not just owned by founders or investors, but by people across continents who align with the mission, what happens if thousands, even millions of people can co-create something without chaos, without fraud, without confusion, because the infrastructure actually supports it, right? So what happens if trust is not something we hope for, but something we can verify? And yeah, maybe it sounds big, maybe it sounds crazy to some people, but honestly, doing nothing is even more crazier. So, because if we keep going the way we are going right now, it won't work. Not even long term, you can already feel the pressure building in different parts of the world. So, the real question is not is this perfect, but the real question is this direction doing better than doing nothing? And for me, the answer is clear. So, yeah, this is where we are, not at the end, not even close. We are at the beginning of something we don't fully understand yet, and it's okay. But because real things, they don't start perfect, they start messy, they start with conversation like this, random thoughts, or finished ideas, people trying to make sense of something bigger than themselves. And they start listening to this right now, and okay, I kinda get it, but not fully, and that is fine. You don't have to fully get it for now. But the most important thing is you are here, you are thinking about it, you are part of the conversation, and in a way that already makes you part of the experiment. Because this is not about building system, it's about building a different way of existing system together. That's co-creatorship, and you yeah we will figure it out as we move. So, Chipies ecosystem shall be a living experiment. Even the 21st century and future civilizations should also continue to experiment better systems, experiment better designs, and be able to come up with better ways of people to live actually, even they don't exist right now. Because Chipies ecosystem is not about keeping existing systems. It's all about bringing new systems in order to improve how people live, structures. That's human essence. Thank you very much. Thank you.